Hello, we are back and we are here to talk about feeding. So, we really wanted to do this episode because there is such a stigma around feeding. Let's be honest, breastfeeding is pushed very heavily, and while it might work beautifully for some women, for others, it's just not an easy ride at all. There could be guilt, shame, even a bit of pressure, when actually all we want to do is feed our babies in the way that works best for us and for them. So, between the two of us, we've pretty much done it all, haven't we?
We have covered every single base you can with feeding.
We've done breastfeeding, formula feeding, combi feeding, bottles, pumping, the lot. So I think we've both learned that feeding is not straightforward, but every journey is valid. So today we just wanted to share our real experiences with you.
And actually, with the 4 babies between us, every journey has been different.
It really, really has. I know with my girls... Oh, that sounds really surreal, my girls. I don't think I've ever said that before.
Oh my God! What a moment. Let's just take a minute.
Take a moment. Right, with Mila and Maddie, completely different experiences. One full of bottles, tears, poop, pictures and all sorts. And then the other one's very much around perseverance, bonding and the odd squirt of milk into her eye. So, Laura, tell us how your feeding experience was with George first.
So I always said I wanted to try breastfeeding. I didn't want the pressure. Matt is so incredibly supportive and was like, literally, he was like, I don't care. Whatever makes you happy, baby
Love
happy,
him.
we'll do whatever. He genuinely was incredible.
Aww.
So, but I was like, let me try it and then we'll go from there. But I didn't have the want of like, I have to do it. This has to be. I didn't have that. I was like, I just want to give it a go. So because he was emergency C-section, they latched him onto me straight away. And I think he was on one side for like a good 40 minutes after the C-section. But I had no feeling, obviously, no idea.
So no kind of... As if...
I had no sensation, no feeling.
Away with the fairies.
Yeah, I was
really
literally high as a kite.
Numb.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, of course, yeah.
So then, obviously, call it like a week in, I was very sore, damaged.
Yeah.
And it got to the point, and I know we'll talk about pain because you did persevere through it, which I just think you're a hero. But I was then like, I don't want to feed him. I don't want to feed my baby, and that's not okay. Like, I was crying before a feed when he was latch, and his latch was fine. I was very lucky. His latch was absolutely fine, but I didn't have that like overwhelming mother nature-y feeling when feeding him. I had quite the opposite, and I thought, I don't want to feel like this. I just want to enjoy feeding him.
And you expect to feel that way, right? Because
that's just what you're told.
That feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. So at this point, Matt was like, just stop it. We had decided from the start to combi feed anyway. I didn't want the pressure of it all being on me. So George was having like a bit of formula. I would say probably to start with it was 90-10. So the odd feed was formula. Usually maybe I'd know the last one before bed. And the rest was breast milk. So then I was like, but I obviously have quite a good supply because he is feeding really well and sleeping really well and is really content. So I was like, what can I do? And that's when I sort of started researching pumping. And I was like, oh my God. So it will, it means I can pump, he can have a feed of breast milk, but actually I'm not going to have the pain and I'm not going to have the pressure. And, we can then switch up the combi feeding if we want to, so more formula if we need to, etc.
So you weren't kind of exclusively pumping, you were doing pumping and then a bit of formula, still 90-10, or did that change?
Yeah, so 90-10 for the majority of it actually, and then obviously as he got bigger, I was sort of like, okay, how do we sort of negotiate this now? And Matt was always like, you should start sort of stopping it if it's not filling him up as much. And that's what I sort of started to notice, which I guess would be maybe a cluster feed day or something. But like then when he got to sort of 4 or 5 months, if he was having sort of 7 ounces and he just wasn't filled up within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, he would want more. And I was like, I'm not pumping again. Like, and even though I had some in the fridge, I was like, no, I'm not, like, this is too
like
much.
A cow.
Well, yeah, you do.
It's being milked all day.
Yeah, with the pumping noise as well. That, that's literally what it sounds like.
Oh, no.
But then they actually announced another lockdown. So I was like, I'm just going to be stuck inside again. So I'm going to I will try and increase it and bump it back up again. But as I tried to increase my pumping, so I just did it a bit more frequently, I came out in these horrendous hives.
Oh no.
Like head to toe, painful, itchy. And I like rang the midwife and was just like, what is this?
My child is allergic to me.
Yeah, I rang the health visitor. So yeah, and I was just like, what? And they were like, it's because it's hormonal. You're trying to stimulate that hormone.
Wow.
And because I'd reduced it by that point, because we were going to start weaning anyway, we weaned him at 5 months. It's like it's your body's reaction to trying to stimulate this hormone, in a sense, just stop. So for me, that was like a definite finishing point.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which, I mean, was fine. It was then a bit odd. And then I was like, do I cry about it? But then Matt was like, he's had like 5 months of breast milk. Why would you? But I said, it's so hard to explain. Like when I then decided to pump and not breastfeed, like I felt like a failure. And it's Matt just couldn't understand that.
There's so much pressure. Yeah. And even I remember when I've spoken to it to Connor about with breastfeeding, he was like, I don't understand, just like stop. And I said, you don't understand the feeling. You just got this desire to do it, and the pressure that is just on you. It's like this invisible cloud, isn't there?
And I know, you always had to like grieve it when I was like, right, I'm going to pump instead. And Matt was like, it's the same thing that he's getting. It's just in a bottle. I was like, you don't understand. Even though I hated it, like you said, that pressure was just absolutely wild. So then obviously, the older he got, the more the combination sort of shifted percentage wise. Because it just wasn't filling him up enough. And then we weaned him at 5 months. So then he was on formula and food.
Because that gets frowned upon. It's like 6 months, isn't it? But actually, some are already like 4 months. Some people say you shouldn't like give solids until they've got teeth. It's so confusing and contrasting out there. Well, it's really hard.
George had teeth at 4 months, and wild. But he was a £9.3 baby.
Nice.
So he was huge. So I basically gave birth to a toddler. Got stuck, didn't he? But I basically gave birth to a toddler. So he was, milk just, wasn't touching the side when he got to like 5 months. So that's why we weaned early. But we'll do a whole episode on weaning and sort of that sort of stage and talk about it in more deets. But that's essentially George. So how did you go with Mila? I know it was a tricky
Such
situation.
an easy ride, wasn't it? No, oh gosh. So with Mila, as soon as she came into the world, I tried to breastfeed. And like you, I didn't go into this wanting to exclusively breastfeed. We always planned to combi feed. But actually, we planned to bottle feed because I really wanted Connor to help share the load as well, and he wanted to do it as a bonding thing as well. I probably never even thought about pumping, and I haven't until recently, to be honest. I never considered that, going into having Mila. But anyway, so we had a bit of a go with the breast, absolute carnage. She just couldn't latch, and I remember saying to the midwife, like, help me please, like I was really desperate to feed her, and it was like an overwhelming feeling actually, of which I wasn't really bothered before I had her. But I kind of persevered for, I think it was 48 hours. She had a bit of colostrum, still had some formula as well, even at that point. But, like my poor little nips were just cut. They were just bleeding, and
the pain is just couldn't do it. I think it's worse than labour. I genuinely think it's worse than labour. I would 100% do labour.
It was
again and again.
That's a brave comment. I don't think I would say that.
Maybe it was a gas and air.
Oh gosh. Well, so I gave up. I did give up. Yeah. And we went straight onto formula, but that's what we were planning anyway. So I don't think I felt as guilty because my plan was still kind of going, the way I thought it was going to be. Started on a formula, which were quite like the ingredients. It was hip organic. And by day 5, my child was screaming in so much pain.
God, I remember.
When she was trying to poo, her poop was gravel. It was little like stones. I had so many pictures of poo on my phone. It's unreal.
Yes, I know, because I think you've sent me most of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Literally, I had a folder dedicated to Mila's poo. Because the problem is though, when you're a first time mum, then I had no idea what normal poo looks like. And if I'm honest, all that the kind of health professionals cared about was the colour. Oh, if it's the right colour, we don't really care about the type of it. And I was like, no, this is why she's in so much pain.
Yeah.
So we had that. So we switched straight away to, it was Kender milk, but we went on to goat's milk. Con did all his research. And he was really kind of,
he's really good like that, isn't he?
Yeah,
with his research.
And he will research to the max. He will.
Yeah.
And this was kind of seen as the closest to breast milk. So I was like, great. Then we just kind of went the other way. So she was pooing, but the poonamis were just next level, to the point where it was, she was probably pooing about 10 times a day, like no exaggeration.
Yeah.
And it was really quite watery as well. But again, nobody cared about the consistency, really. They were like, no, that's just Kender poos. That was just how it is.
They've got its own brand of poos. I remember those photos as well.
Oh, yes. The amount of like vests that I had to throw away because, I don't know, people get poo out of their vests. I could just never do it. They're like, put it in the sunshine. I was like, we live in the UK, there is no sun.
Yeah, but also, like, even if you wash it, like, even there's a little bit on there, like, it would come out. I remember, like, you would dry it and stuff, and you'd be like, it just looks awful.
It was like really,
the stain.
It is, I know, but it was exhausting. But at the same time, we were like, at least she is pooping. I'd rather her be a little bit more comfortable. I mean, she wasn't that comfortable still, but than she was with the gravel poo. So,
and at least you knew that it was like it was coming out. Do you know what I mean? Like with the gravel poo, I know that it wasn't as constant. And then obviously when it was,
exactly.
So sausage.
I'm going to say like a really probably kind of brash, blunt sentence here, but I really hated feeding Mila. So not her, bless her, but. Well, it was her, but it wasn't her fault. But you know, when people, like, I see them feeding their babies and they just look content, and it's like they get a little bit of respite in that moment because it's kind of calm, it's quiet, they're filling their bellies up. Whereas Mila was literally fighting the bottle, slipping off the teat. She would be screaming, legs up, really uncomfortable, and you could physically hear the air going into her belly when she was eating. It was awful. And I tried to seek help from every midwife, health visitor. There was doctor. Yeah. And everyone just said, babies cry. You can't give it back.
I remember you were going to absolutely everyone. And I mean, I was getting frustrated for you because why was nobody giving you any definitive answers?
No,
do you know what
nothing.
I mean?
We just got labelled as, she's a colicky baby. I mean, colic is like, it's just like an umbrella term, isn't it? It's
more of course it is. Colic and reflux.
Adjective, really.
Like, yeah.
So, thank goodness for my wonderful neighbour, like, I literally adore them, for mentioning about their son had tongue tie. Now, I'd never heard about it, and I know I've mentioned this in a previous episode in Series 1, but I'll just touch upon this again because I think it's important for awareness. I hear more about tongue tie now more than ever.
Yeah, there's a bit more. There's a bit more on social media now, I think. Yeah. And there's a few. Yeah. There's a sleep coach that I follow who does a lot on tongue tie and the breathing of children and how that affects sleep, but also feeding and things. But yeah, I didn't really know much about it either.
No, well, we ended up because the NHS waiting list was just too long. It was 6 weeks, and in the grand schemes of things, 6 weeks is not a long time. But when your child is screaming and in pain. It was horrendous. So we went privately and we saw a doctor in Cheltenham who was fantastic. And he took one look at Mila and said that, oh my God, I can't believe how she's gained weight or that she's gained any weight at all. That her tongue tie was so severe it would affect her eating solids, speech, and that we had to do the tongue tie release there and then because it was an 80% tongue tie. So
how is that not? Oh my! I mean, it makes me so angry.
No, I know because when midwives were checking and the health professionals, they would just put their finger in, and because she would suck their finger, they'd go, "Oh yeah, she hasn't got a tongue tie."
That's not it.
No, so it is what it is. At least, like for my sanity, it was the one thing that I could check, like objectively, and be told yes or no, and thankfully it was. And as soon as he cut, I mean, it was so traumatic, Laura, like in that moment, for me, I mean, it's raw. No painkillers, nothing.
What? They didn't give them anything?
No, literally, I've got a picture on my phone of him with
You need to stop taking pictures.
I've literally got a picture of him. I know. Do you know what? I can't remember taking a picture, but I did. I do. The joys.
The poo pictures, the tongue tie pictures.
Got it all. The thumbs are there and you can see the tongue tie. He's like, look at that. Now, to be honest, to me, it means nothing because I don't know what is a short or long tie, right? Yeah. But I've got it. And the best bit was at the end, he went, here, have the scissors for a memento. I was like, you think I want to remember this day? Yeah.
What
gave
do they
gave the scissors. I don't know.
To
be fair, I still have them, but
Sweeney Todd style, like in your dining room.
Yeah. So anyway, he did the cut. Very traumatic, but it really was only for seconds. Bottle straight in, and at this point we'd gone to man bottles and straight in, and she just fed, and I was like, I couldn't hear anything. You couldn't hear clicking, all that kind of stuff. She just fed, and I was like, oh my God, the relief. She slept for 2 hours after. This child didn't sleep a second.
Oh my God, I remember the voice note.
So, it was an absolute relief. But for anybody that's going through a tongue tie release with their little one at the moment or planning on doing it, just kind of FYI, for that first night, they're going to be sore. And I completely was not rational in my thinking of, why is she so cranky and fussy? I mean, more so than normal. And she was just crying. I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done?
Yeah.
And then I thought, no, she's going to be in pain. She's a bit sore, probably. She just had a bit of tissue cut. So, once you realise that is normal. And then for the first week, their tongue, I mean, we'd never seen her tongue move properly. And then suddenly it was all over the place.
Oh, bless her.
So for the first week, she didn't feed very well at all. It was a bit all over the place. But within the week, it's like the muscle retrained, and then she was more comfortable. But it she was still windy. She still got wind, but it wasn't as bad. I mean, we had that done at 6 weeks. So imagine we literally managed 6 weeks of constant screaming.
Oh my God.
Bless her heart, in so much pain. It was, it was really, really tough. But what I will say in regards to bottle feeding is, I think, one, it gave me a bit of structure, which I probably don't have with Maddie at the minute, because kind of fed probably every kind of couple of hours, and she kind of got into that routine. But I suppose with a bottle, you never know how quick the flow's going. Like those kind of things can sometimes be an issue, can't they?
Yeah, you can get the slow release ones, and you can get so many different varieties. So we had the I think they were anti-colic ones. We had the Tommy Tippy bottles.
Yeah,
you had them all. This had an anti-colic something valve in the teat, because both of mine were their reflux.
Yeah.
So we went with those bottles, and they both got on with it. So actually, we didn't try any of the others.
I tried them all.
Yeah,
I've got a bag here if you want to see. I've got. Anybody want some bottles? Dr. Brown, everything, all of them.
But again, with that, you don't know. We just picked Tommy Tippy again because it was a brand I'd heard of. And a bit like our formula, you were talking about the different brands you used. I used SMA, which is quite an old brand. And I remember saying to Matt, I said to Matt, just pick up some of those, the instant bottles, when we were going sober. I said, get some of those, get the SMA ones. And he was like, oh, okay. He's like, I remember him calling me and saying, there's a whole aisle full of all these different ones. Are you sure it's SMA? And I was like, yeah. But then I'm thinking, I look back, I think, I did zero research. It's the one my mum had for my little brothers. And it's just the logo I remember. So again, for both of them, we tried that formula and it worked for them. I think we were just lucky. I did zero research on
That's what I mean.
formulas.
That when we started on that hip organic, for other people, that was a game changer for them. When they had issues, they changed to that one. So it's just, every baby is different, right? But my God, formula, price,
oh my God,
expensive.
Wild.
I mean, ours was the Kendamil. I think it's about 21, 22 quid. So it's a lot of money. Especially in those first few weeks, right, when they're feeding, and obviously yours when they're going up to 8-9 ounces.
Don't worry, that was breast milk. Don't worry.
Oh yes, it was.
Yeah. But I do remember thinking, oh God, this whole tin of formulas lasted a month and a half. That's incredible. And then when the percentage changes, it's a week. Great.
Do you know what I was actually most gutted about? I thought, because they didn't sell Kendamil in a lot of places, it was only I don't know, Waitrose or something, and Boots.
Oh, of course it was.
Of course, right.
Of course it was.
My parents were like, for God's sake, Kelly, why do you have to have the most expensive formula? I was like, honestly, guys, just give me a break. Do you want me to cry? But I was most gutted. I saw it in Boots and I thought, do you know what? This is great. I can use my Boots points. And I got to the till, she's no, sorry, you can't use them.
You can't.
I was offended. How rude. I know.
Oh my God. Do you know what? I did exactly the same. Because I
said, little Boots.
Yeah, because I literally was like, I've got so many points. I don't know. The next few tins are on me. I got this. And they're like, yeah, no, soz. Yeah, that's an outrageous rule, actually.
I know. But I suppose the last thing I'd say about Mila is the only thing no one prepared me for with bottle feeding was when they actually take the bottle themselves and feed themselves, and then you suddenly go, oh, like, I'm never going to feed my child again. Like, there was that moment where, like, towards the end, I mean, she had milk, and I think till she was just after 1. And I remember her just feeding herself. Like, she was like, no, like, grabbed it off me. I was like, oh, let me just cherish this moment.
Let's just take this.
Take this in. So, yeah. So, how are you with Isla? Was that very different to George?
Yes and no, I guess. I was just going to jump in and say actually what you said about giving Mila milk until just after 1. So I remember having a conversation with my mum saying, right, so they've been on the first formula, like, I don't know, the newborn one, which is the closest to breast milk. I was like, and I just kept them on that. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking to a health visitor and I was like, but then there's like stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, like all these different milks. I was like, my plan was to just do full fat cow's milk from 12 months. Like, one cost. No, I'm joking. But do you know what I mean? I was like, that's just what I'd read to do. And they were like, yeah, it's literally a marketing gimmick. You don't need to do the stage 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's all marketing. And yeah, they're like, basically stick on the newborn formula all the way through. Really? And then you can just go to cow's milk, or your milk equivalent. Yeah.
Well, there you go. You've heard it here first.
That's a top tip, yeah. So with Isla, okay, again, very similar. So she, again, we said we'd do combi feeding. I said, I'll try breastfeeding. I know, I didn't enjoy it, but it could be different. I remember actually, so after George having that like 40-minute session, he then slept for like 10 hours, I think, after the traumatic birth. I remember with Isla.
That's amazing though.
I know. I didn't sleep a wink, but he did. But I remember with Isla, I like fed her, and obviously I wasn't high as a kite, so I was like, oh, I'm doing it, this is great. And I remember Matt going, and I was like, I'm going to have a dreamy sleep now, bye. Every like 20 minutes, half an hour, she wanted more boob. I was like, this is horrendous, because I'm now back in the same situation. I'm so damaged and sore. And I'm not high as a kite. So, so again, her latch was really good. I was really, really lucky. I don't know if it was because she's a girl and obviously there's different hormones and stuff. My supply was wild.
Was it?
Yeah. So again, I got to the same point, which I think every woman will get to with breastfeeding, where it hurts so much and then you're like, do I persevere? Do I give up? You're at that point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Been there. Yeah.
So yeah, it got to that point and I was like, I absolutely hate this so much. So again, went, right, I'm just going to pump again. And yeah, my supply was just through the roof. So again, I was like, I can't not do this because I'm very blessed that this is, it's coming quite easy. But I did get mastitis with Isla, which was horrendous.
I've avoided that so far. I mean, there's still time, but I hear, nasty stories about that.
Yeah, so, and I remember exactly when it happened. So because both George and Isla had reflux, not particularly bad, but, and obviously they grew out of it, but it was, basically, if we fed them and put them down, they would projectile everywhere. So we had to feed them sort of at an angle rather than lying them flat, which again made breastfeeding really tricky because to try and get that angle is a nightmare. It wasn't comfortable. And then once they'd had a feed, we had to hold them upright for 20 minutes. And it was
just
at 3:00 in the morning.
Oh no.
You're like, let's hurry this up. But whenever you try to hurry it up, they then projectile. And you'll be like,
and then you just feel like all that milk's wasted, isn't it?
And then I've got to do it all again.
Albeit it always looks more than it is. I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, absolutely does. So so we then had to do the holding up for 20 minutes, etc. So I remember with Isla, we didn't know necessarily she had reflux as bad. She didn't seem to have it as bad as George. So I just started pumping. I put her down after a feed and I was like, right, I'm just going to pump a bit so I don't feel that empty. And then, she just projectiled and I had to stop mid-pump. I was on my own and I was like, sort her out, get her changed, get her clean. She was fine. And then I forgot to carry on. So I wasn't empty.
Oh, no.
So I remember like the next day I was like, I feel like a bit of a blocked duct, which just feels like a pee, like a hard pee. And it's a bit achy.
It happened that quick? That's quick?
Honestly, it was quite quick, because I think, I'll talk about supply and pumping. I think it just sends it into overdrive a little bit. But you can clear them yourself, so hot towels, and I'd done that before, still pumping, still doing all that, changing your angle, you can just clear it, and I had cleared a few. But then I remember I woke up in the night and I was like a bit sweaty and a bit like chilly and a bit like, I was thinking, I don't feel great. I remember waking up in the morning being like, I don't feel great. And Matt's like, you just had a baby, like, get over it. Then I went into like Do you know what I mean? He was like, don't read too much into it, you're fine. And I went to go and have a shower, and I was like, I'm just going to look at my boob, and I saw like a red triangle, which is like a telltale sort of sign. And I just remember sobbing. So I was like, I've got an infection. Like, I was only about 2 weeks postpartum. So I was just in the shower, like, just sobbing, like, all my hair falling out as well.
I bet your boobs just squirting everywhere.
Honestly, Matt was so lucky.
Oh no! Why can't men breastfeed? They've got nipples for no purpose.
Just take the load. But I remember speaking, so I rang. Of course, it was a Saturday. Of course, it was.
Always.
So I remember ringing 111, and I got through to like the local, I don't know, pharmacy nurse person. And she's like, "Well, we can't really prescribe without seeing you." And I was like, "I'm going to be really blunt with you. I've got it. This is what it is. These are my symptoms. This is my second child.
Give me the drugs.
This is what I've got." And she was like, "Okay, they'll be in your pharmacy within an hour." I was like, "Okay."
Nice.
Then as soon as I had the antibiotics, it was fine. I never had it again. So the main difference with Ida to George was my supply. So again, I was like, I'll pump until it stops filling her up, because then it just becomes, and it was a bit trickier with George. He was only 2.5. So it was tricky. But I was getting 9 ounces in one pump, which is, I mean, I remember Matt's face just being like, what?
Wow.
I was like, I know.
That's great though.
So it was great.
Lucky your supply is so good, right?
Yeah.
Because that's all I see on social media at the minute is people talk about their supply, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't got a clue what my supply
but yours is
like.
Clearly really good and natural. Like it naturally goes up with the baby. So like when Maddie needs more, your supply will increase naturally, whereas with pumping it's quite artificial, which is why I think it was just constant. But again, so I think we did I did breast milk with Ida till about 3.5 months, and then she'd be having like a 9-ounce bottle and then be hungry again in like half an hour, and I was like, no.
Oh god, it's hard, isn't it?
So that's when the percentage
She's
shifted again.
tiny as well. She's like a little tiny little cute princess.
Oh well,
like I look back on pictures.
Monster.
I look back on pictures, and Mina looks like a sumo wrestler. Oh, God, love you, child. Like, she's grown into her body now.
Pictures.
It's actually one of Connor's. And it's in the bath, and she's got, like, shark hair. And she's looking to the side, all her wrinkles, like, all her cute little chubs. So I was like, she looks about 10 stone.
Bless her.
I had rose tinted glasses. I was like, oh no, she's just a little bit chubby. And Connor's like, I've told you. I tried to tell you, Kelly. I tried to tell you.
Look at her now. She's gorgeous. Shut up.
She is. She's beautiful.
So gorgeous. So yeah, that was it with Ida really. So not, similar, a little bit of difference. And then we stopped sort of 3.5 months. It was difficult balancing pumping with George. And one of the cons with pumping is people are like, you're doubling the load because you have to pump and then you have to feed. And you do. There's no like lying about it. You are technically.
Can't you pump on one side, feed on the other?
Yeah, but I didn't want to feed.
Oh yeah.
So
God, I should really listen to the podcast, really, shouldn't I?
Rewind and listen. But that is like, you only feed on one side sometimes, so you could always pump the other side. But and then I didn't have that like emotional ending of like I failed. I didn't have any of that with Ida, because I think I was like, she's had enough. Do you know what I mean?
You boshed it. Yeah.
So,
well done. Well done for doing what you did.
Cheers, babes. So appreciate it. So come on then, talk to me about the dream baby.
The dream baby, you ready?
And your boobies.
My wonderful breasts.
Yeah.
Right, Maddie. I mean, as I said in the last episode, as soon as she came into the world, she latched straight away. And it just felt right. I'm not gonna lie. It did feel, I generally was, the first kind of that day, I really quite enjoyed it, but she was so content, and I was just happy that she was happy.
Yeah, of course.
But I thought, okay, I'm just going to carry on with it. Again, I went into it not wanting to exclusively breastfeed. I didn't think it would suit our lifestyle. I just didn't think it was for me. But here we are, 3 months later, and we're still going exclusively breastfeeding. Now, I will say though, I'm actually really proud of myself. I can't imagine me getting to where I am now in that first week, 10 days, because like you said, the pain, oh my gosh, I've never experienced anything like it. My toes were curling. I was hysterically crying.
I remember the voice notes. I'm not laughing at you crying. I'm laughing at the voice
that's so mean.
I'm laughing at the voice notes you'd send me. So you'd always send me a voice note when you were feeding, and you'd be like, "Hey, baby, you little bitch." Okay, it's okay. She's fine. How's your day going? Oh, you little. Yeah, she's fine.
It was hard.
Honestly,
it was so
I
hard.
know. You're honestly,
Gritting my teeth.
Take my hat off to you because you persevered, and the pain is real.
I don't know how. Like, I couldn't persevere the first time at all, and this time was hard.
But you were enjoying it. You had that enjoyment side of it.
Well, I just think I had severe PTSD that because she was happy, I was so convinced that if I stop breastfeeding and put her onto a bottle, she'll become windy, colicky, and me and Connor will be digging our graves. So I had to persevere for my own sanity.
Of course.
In a way. So, but I'm so proud I did, but it was so painful. Whoever tells you that breastfeeding is not painful is lying. Like, it's in the initial stages, it really does. And I was listening to someone on social media, and she said, she was someone's certified doctor, and she was like, it is painful, but it does get better. And if people had said that to me before, I would have probably been more expecting that kind of first part of the journey. Because people said, breastfeeding, even people coming out to breastfeeding shouldn't be painful. No, if it's painful, she's not latching properly. No, I'm just not used to somebody sucking on my nipples, hours and hours in the day. So it is going to be really sore. Do you know what I mean?
Think, and nobody tells you that first one, especially depending on your birth, but like that first latch, because they are trying to find their way. And even if they've had a really good latch, like George and I both had a really good latch. Oh my God, it doesn't matter. Like, you're still being ripped to shreds.
Well, that was my concern. Before I had Maddie, I pre-booked in a tongue tie specialist.
Yes, I remember.
Out as a home visit on day 1, day 2, whenever I was home, to do a tongue tie review. And I remember thinking, right, hang on, let me just message her and see what she actually thinks. And she said, look, Kelly, have your baby. Just see how it goes. If you've got any problems, I'll come straight out to you. But don't preempt something that might actually turn out to be okay. And I suppose I haven't had problems with Maddie once I got over that kind of 7 to 10 days. I got over the hurdle. And so I assume that she's not tongue tie, or that her latch is.
She might only have a little bit of tongue tie. Do you know what I mean? But it's just not impacting her.
No, she's feeding really well. And she's at the point now where she's seeing so much more that she's getting distracted. So she's on and off. I'm like, ow, come on, just chill for a little bit. But she's doing really, really well. I would say breastfeeding, I never thought I'd be on this journey at all. I mean, I was part of a breastfeeding shoot recently, which...
Oh my God, your photo shoot!
I know, it was amazing. And I've got photos that I'll treasure forever. I mean, I couldn't even imagine going out the house with Mila when I took her for that photo shoot. So, but that was amazing.
I'm so proud you went for that. I remember us talking about it, and you were like, I just don't know, I'm just not sure. And you were like, do you know what, I'm just going to do it. And I was so proud of you, and the photos are absolutely gorgeous. We'll share some on our page. Yeah, because they're gorgeous.
Thank you. I do love them, and it's one of those where I remember saying to you, I don't feel, I've just had a baby, you don't feel great physically in yourself and everything, but I kind of thought, this is not about me right now, my physical appearance at all. This is about the beauty of being able to breastfeed my own child, and I'm lucky to be able to do that. So and share that journey with other mums there, which was amazing. So one thing I thought I'd really care about, which I don't at all, is feeding in public. Couldn't bother. Or even feeding in front of my dad. Love you, Dad. Shout out to my dad. Best man in the world.
What a lad.
I really don't care. I just think, look, I'm feeding my baby. I mean, I tend to put a muslin over it or whatever, but sometimes I'm just like who cares? I'm feeding my baby. It's natural.
It actually bothers me when people have a problem with it.
Yeah, just don't look.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. And also, it is natural. And you think, this has been pushed on you to do by every professional that you have been involved in during your pregnancy and post-birth. They have been forcing this down your throat that you need to do this. And then people can be like, I'm not
judge you on it.
Get over yourself. Do you know what
I mean? Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'd say one of the best things about breastfeeding for me at the minute is it is really convenient. I can feed her anywhere. If she's a little bit fussy, I can just put her on the boob and she pretty much settles. I am a little bit like a human pacifier, at times, but I don't really care. She's happy. I mean, my husband should adore me because that man has not had to get up once in the night to feed our child.
There's that. I think that's one of the pros and cons. I mean, it's so convenient. You can just leave the house with nappies, like we said in the last episode. and you can't do that with pumping. I remember it lasts at room temperature for a couple of hours. So I remember like I would pump on the way somewhere, knowing that we had a bottle ready for him, or for Isla. So, but yeah, I mean that's you getting in the car with everything, plus all your pump stuff, plus pumping while driving. When Matt would drive. No. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh gosh, really? Oh no,
it was a commitment.
That is, you've hit it right on the nail there, because the difference now, and I've said this already about leaving the house. I can just leave the house. We don't have to prep, pack for all the bottles, or the formula box with the formula in,
the sterilizer,
the sterilizer, my kind of rapid cool down, all that stuff. It is so easy to leave the house, and as I said, I can just feed her anyway. I don't have to wait for milk to cool down. I remember when I first had Mila, we literally did the bottle in a bowl of water, and we would watch the milk get cold. I'm like, come on, 3 o'clock in the morning when Mila's screaming her head off and she's so hungry, and I'm like, can I feed her yet? Like, that was really tough with bottle, actually.
But you did. So we used a prep machine, which I know is very controversial. So people have their thoughts on it, and that is fine. We used it and thought it was a godsend. My mum was literally, I remember her seeing it the first time and was like, "That's a coffee machine for baby milk." What? And obviously, I'm like one of 4. She was like, "Where was that in my day?" Fuming. But I remember that, was it Newbie, the brand of like the cooling down thing, which I've never seen until you pulled out at my house, and I was like,
"Oh my god,
is this?"
Yeah, best product ever. If you are bottle feeding, guys, you need a Newbie in your life. It was the best thing because it literally cools it down within like 2 minutes, depending on the amount of milk in there. But you just whack it in. It's so easy. We bought a couple as well, so I didn't have to think about re-sterilizing bottles and all that kind of stuff. It was so easy to use, and it was fantastic. The point where I bought new ones, anticipating I'd need it for Maddie, but I haven't used them so far. So, but we're still very early in the journey. I'm doing really well, and she's doing well so far, but
do you have like an end point, or are you just going to see how it goes?
No, not really. I think I'm just going to try and feed for as long as I can. But I do have a bit of a dilemma at the minute.
Oh, talk to me.
Because I feel like I'm coming to a bit of a stumbling block. I have one of my best friend's hen do's that I cannot wait to go on at the end of September.
Whoop, whoop.
But I am at that point where I'm exclusively breastfeeding. Maddie's not had a bottle yet. I've not even thought, or I don't have a clue about pumping. So this is where I am. I'm going to be gone from Friday to Sunday. I'm going to have to get a pump, of which we've been looking at ones recently. There's so many out there, my gosh, and it's hard to choose. But I really want one that is, I can just whack them in the bra, and I can still carry on. I don't think for like my mental well-being, I could just sit in a corner and just pump like being milked by a cow. I just don't think I could do it. So I'm just worried. I've got a few concerns. Like one, like how do you pump? Like when do you pump? And do I need to do prep now? Like, will Maddie not want the boob after a bottle? Will she take a bottle? What happens? I've got all this anxiety and all these feelings, and I'm sure other people maybe in similar situations to me might have that as well. So I'm coming to you for advice.
Oh God, you must be really struggling.
I know.
No, I mean, I can only tell you obviously what I sort of know and what I've spoken to other mums about. So with the pump, I went for one where you do sit in a corner, because some of I think it was more for my supply, because some of the in the bra ones I've heard from other mums aren't as powerful with the suction. You will be fine with that because you breastfeed, but because that was what I was doing, I wanted something a bit more industrial, if that makes sense.
Okay, industrial. Love that.
I mean? I needed them to be empty. So yeah, but in the bra you'll find easy because you can do other things as you're doing it, but also just be careful because they can spill and they can.
Okay.
So just be careful with that.
So I can't just do shots in one.
Sure you could. Well, that's what I was going to say. You'll need to pump and dump when you're there, because otherwise that is where you might get mastitis, because your boobs will be really, really full. So, but literally you just need to pump. And if you're drinking as well, just pump and chuck it. Do you know what I mean?
But with that, because I'm not in, and this is where my brain is just not registering here, because I'm not in a structure or a routine with feeding. Like, I don't feed Maddie every 2 hours, every 3-4 hours. I feed her on demand. So she could go an hour, she could go 3 hours. She might feed 3 times in an hour. Like, it's so different. My boobs don't kind of do the whole filling, like all that. It's kind of leveled out now this last month. So with pumping, do I put myself on a routine, or do I just kind of guess? That's what I don't want to do.
No, because with pumping, it really, so people will pump in between breastfeeding to boost their supply. So pumping really boosts your supply.
Oh, okay.
So the more you pump, the more you have.
The more you produce, right?
Yes,
right, okay.
Because obviously as soon as your boobs are empty, they're like, oh, baby wanted all of that, so I'm going to refill all of that. So I think that's what I had with Isla. Yeah. And then you are literally like a machine. So because yours have leveled out, I would just, over the next week or so, maybe just get an average. So like I said, I know it changes. Obviously it will with cluster feeding. But like if it's an average every 3 hours and you do it from one boob and then 3 hours later you do the other boob, just do that.
Yeah.
And maybe if like you're going on like a night out, then maybe do it like before you go, and then maybe when you get back, depending on what state you're in. But do you know what I mean? I would just keep it really relaxed. Really, what you don't want to do is like get yourself to the point where you're producing so much that then you're going to leak.
So don't over.
And it's going to be don't. No. Because people do that by mistake. So I would just go with how you're sort of feeling and be like, oh, you know, it's been 3 hours. I'm gonna pump. Do one side, And if you're feeding Maddie just with one side and then the next side, however many hours later, so it can be 5 to 6 hours. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Stick with that, because otherwise you're going to increase that supply.
Okay.
If you're doing both boobs every like 2 hours.
And then is the risk then that I could get mastitis because actually Maddie doesn't need that and they're going to start producing? Yeah. Oh, yes. I don't want that. I don't want the triangle.
No, not the triangle. But also when you then get back and Maddie feeds, you'll then need to empty once she's stopped feeding because you'll still be full. Like she won't have emptied it all because you'll have no milk.
Gosh, it's such a minefield. Honestly, it is. It's really been playing on my mind, but at the same time, I've been really like ignorant to it. I've just been ignoring.
It's because you don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it. No,
and I get it, and that's fine.
Flat out. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to do it. Breastfeeding's working for me. I don't want to have to change something right now because I know if I change something and suddenly she changes, and it could be complete coincidence, right? And she could be towards that 4 months regression time. Yeah. I will blame that because I'll be thinking, right, well, I should just carried on, but I can't.
What I would try and do though, because she's not had a bottle yet, and what you don't want to do is the first time she has a bottle is when you're not there to soothe her and Connor's on his own.
Yeah.
I would try, as soon as you get your pump, just try and build in maybe just one feed of a pumped bottle.
Okay.
Just to get her used to taking it, because I've spoken to mums where they've exclusively breastfed and then the kids have just point blank refused a bottle, and that's going to be really traumatic for Connor if you're then not there to soothe her.
Yeah.
So, and I think it would just be practice. I don't think it would be like a point blank and that's it. She'll never ever have it. She might just take to it and then go back to you. It's fine. But I feel like
I'm hoping.
If you practice with just like one feed and then just have a boob the rest of the time, do you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was thinking though. I said to Connor, it's not like it's just one night because I'm gone Friday to Sunday. She's going to have the bottle for the entire time. So she needs to be comfortable on a bottle. So we've got to start now. So
but I think
he's been helping me on.
If you practice swapping as well, she'll be used to swapping and it won't be a big thing. So then when she does have the bottle for the prolonged period of time, when you then come back,
it won't be a shock.
It won't be like, what is this? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If you're practicing that swap and just getting... And also it'd be nice for Connor to have a practice as well whilst you're there.
I know. God, lazy man. I mean? Not done any feeding.
But do you know what I mean? But then that might just be nice for him to do as well. And then he'll feel less anxious when you go. Yeah.
I know. And I want him to be okay that weekend. And he will be. I mean, Maddie's great and he'll be absolutely fine with her. It's just the feeding. If we can master that. So.
But what you can do is when you get your pump is start building your stash. So it can last breast milk in the freezer if your freezer is minus 18 degrees or lower, it will last 6 months. So obviously just date the bags.
6 months?
6 months.
So I need to get another freezer.
But I know you're worried about going to work, like when you go back to work and stuff. Yeah, but you can start building a stash, and then
that's a good idea.
The ice compartment bit of your freezer, which obviously is not as cold, you can do 2 weeks in there. Okay. And then in your fridge, it can be 8 days if it's 4 degrees and lower.
8 days? Wow.
8 days, and then 3 days if it's 4 degrees or above.
Okay, cool. Didn't you say if you freeze? Didn't you say though if you freeze milk that it can taste different?
So I did. Yes, I did have a friend that said that she did this whole freezer stash for when she got back to work, and when it came to like thawing it, and then her daughter having it, her daughter just didn't like it, so she had to get rid of the whole stash.
Oh,
and I was
devastated.
Like, oh my God, that's like liquid gold. Oh my God.
She's like,
she's like, I just literally don't have to think about it. I think did she donate some? I think she might have done, but she was like, I just have to not think about it because it happened and I have to get over it. Otherwise I'll just cry.
Bless her.
But if you know, do you know what I mean? If you know it lasts 6 months, you could just start, if she's feeding on one side or whatever, you could just pump a little bit after, but just be really careful not to do it loads at your
So don't
flow.
over pump.
No.
Get her probably used to a bottle and try it with a pump before. Try it probably when I'm around. So, but Connor to try and feed so she gets used to Connor feeding as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel better already, actually. Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, people might be listening to this like, what is she on about? She has got that.
Talking rubbish. Well, if anyone's got any tips, then do let us know. But look, I think that's a really kind of nice way to close anyway, and just say that feeding is not simple. It can be very messy, stressful, very painful and emotional, but also very beautiful. And I think, be proud of yourself however you're feeding your baby, because they're thriving at the end of the day, which is just amazing, and you've done that. So
ultimately, being fed is best. That's it.
Exactly.
As long as baby is fed, that is best.
Exactly.
And mama is happy.
But I think the only thing I would say is fight for answers as well. Like, trust your gut. If you don't think something is right, like I thought something was wrong with Mila, like just go and get that second opinion. Do that. Trust your gut, because
100%.
Yeah, we know as parents. So hang on in there. It does get better, and you will look back on your journey, I'm sure, or however you've done it, and you'll be proud.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. We will be back soon. And in the meantime, please give us a follow on our Instagram. You can search us with #mumlife or @mumlifepodcast. And we will see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.